You can do it?
Oh, balls. Sure. I don't know. I guess I'm on the air now. So. I'm enjoying a tasty beverage is what I'm doing. Hmm. Interesting.
There you go. Just for a little bit.
Yep.
Because Chad said he was going to donate from the toilet, remember?
Okay. Well, Chad, you got to donate now because I got my tiara on.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Working on it. The beverage is going to be Body Armor watermelon strawberry as soon as I finish off this incredibly delectable friend of a friend wild farmhouse with Kansas Peaches Ale from Central Standard Brewing in Wichita.
Where's my other darts? Did you not pick them up from the...
There's one down here. I'm going to get shot with Nerf darts at some certain point. I complain and whine a lot, and so my wife got me a tiara for Christmas, so I'm not entirely sure what... I mean, I am entirely sure what that means, but it does... My head's too big, it doesn't fit. All right, we're gonna let some people filter in here and get to it. Hopefully everything is all kosher. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good on my end. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. The Omega Crux and the Pitch Purple launched yesterday.
Do you need the speaker for James?
That's what I went back upstairs for. I knew I forgot something, but I got distracted by...
I'll get it. I'll get it.
Distracted by something else. Yeah, so nuclear cell videos coming out this weekend and throughout the next week. I can start putting stuff up for the Axiom next Friday. The U.S. Open's going on right now. We are in between match play squads at the moment, so I thought I'd sneak this in instead of kind of overlapping the U.S. Open, so we can talk a little bit about that. As you saw in the thumbnails, I have started drilling stuff left-handed already. I actually drilled plastic too, believe that or not. So yeah, I've got just a mountain of videos to get to. So yeah, it should be fun. Just gotta find a place to put stuff here. Hook up the technology here a little bit. I may or may not be receiving a phone call later, so. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good.
I guess holler if you need to.
Okay, all right, that's connected. All right, so we've got a little crowd going here. Omega Crux and Pitch Purple have released. I think all the videos done. I did get some Fever Pitch video or footage to make a video comparison with the Pitch Purple. The Fever Pitch footage was awful, so that might be one of those things where I just kind of catch that if I have absolutely nothing else going on. Appreciate it, Mike. And James, you might just want to go ahead and call now. The chat is quiet for the moment, so before we start talking about stuff that's coming down the pipeline, how about we just talk some Omega Crux and Pitch Purple right now? If you're ready. Long editing weekend. Very long editing weekend. I got a bunch of different footage yesterday, and I've got to go back and get some more on Friday. I've got to figure out what else I'm going to drill. I have a few options here. So if anybody is interested in certain comparisons to the Axiom, please let me know. I don't have everything, but All right. All right. Do me a test 1, 2 here, Jameson. Okay. Audio. There we go. All right. Try it again.
Say again?
Try it again here.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
All right. I'm gonna try to get the volume right here on the speaker thing.
Okay. Using a external speakerphone, I take it.
Yep. I got a speaker.
Look at you learning all this technology stuff.
Yeah, I know. So much fun. All right, so you've had a good weekend so far with the Omega Crux.
Yeah.
And
that ball has really blown me away. I mean, just to cut straight to the chase, and this is probably the biggest compliment I can give that ball. I have not touched my physics since I drilled the Omega Crux.
Yeah, that's a pretty big compliment. By the way, we're speaking with James Niffen Jr., UBA Southeast, Southwest champion, something like that.
Yep, Southeast heavyweight champion.
Cool. Which is out on the East Coast. For those of you West Coasters or Midwesterners like I am, Underground Bowling Alliance on the East Coast. So,
yeah, I've heard talk of them expanding. They actually have a couple teams out in Las Vegas. I think they're trying to start a kind of chapter out there as well. But it's centered mainly from like South Carolina up through like the upper Northeast. Is where most of it is.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if something like that made its way to the Midwest. We've got a pretty solid amount of tournaments around here, but we don't have something quite like that. I think that'd be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. A lot of the stuff with UBA is actually handicap, so it's very much built to be able to cater to both like higher level bowlers like you and I, but also like, you know, the 180 to 200 crowds can still go out there, have fun, and, you know, make some money in the process.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's built to welcome bowlers of different skill levels and not just be like a scratch bowlers only type of thing, which I know, you know, some of the tournaments like the stuff that Wazo and Adamski run, the Kansas City tournaments, I know they can feel a little top heavy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So this feels that they run an interesting handicap system. It's actually 70% of 250, which is obviously, you know, some of the centers around here in North Carolina especially are really, really high scoring.
Yeah.
So that handicap balance is something that they've kind of been tinkering with the past few years, and they actually just switched to that this season.
Uh-huh.
And it seems to be striking a really good balance of like giving the handicap bowlers a chance if they bowl well, but the scratch bowlers aren't like blocked out in singles events from having a chance of winning.
Yeah, I do kind of like that idea because obviously with 250 being on the higher end, it's gonna, you know, but still being 70%, it opens it up a couple of different ways. So I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, exactly. So it's to provide a little more background. It started up in, I think, New York City, right around that area, as a kind of a regional kind of action bowling based travel league, more or less. It's kind of built around that, you know, the old school action bowling, lots of trash talk, yada yada yada, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just it's grown and expanded from there. And I think last I heard, there are 200 plus teams just in the UBA right now.
Oh wow.
Stretching from, you know, all the way from South Carolina, that there's a couple teams down in Atlanta, all the way up through, you know, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, up in that corner of the country.
Wow. Yeah, that's Yeah, we used to have some adult travel leagues around here, but they kind of all died out. They were on Sunday mornings, and you know, everybody, especially during bowling season, which is also kind of football NFL season, everybody wanted to be at home, you know, getting ready for football games instead of going to travel leagues. So that kind of died out. But
yeah, it's definitely tough to make a proper travel league work. And I think with UBA, and then also there's another organization down here in the Southeast called the Bowling Federation. And both of those kind of operate under that same travel league type model. You'll have like my team for UVA, the Hitmen. We've got our roster's probably 40 to 45 people.
Oh wow!
But a normal tour stop, you're only starting 9.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little more spread out as opposed to like a traditional weekly travel league, where you're on a 4-man team and you're all 4 of you are bowling every single week.
Yeah.
So it's a little more spread out in that sense. So that makes it a little more manageable, given that it's always on the weekends.
Yeah. No, we definitely need our own version of Dougie Vision out here, too. But
yeah. Speaking of, actually, Dougie is going to be down in North Carolina, I think, in early May.
Oh yeah.
He's hosting a Dougie Vision down at Sandhills Bowling Center in Aberdeen, which is about an hour from Raleigh. And I don't think he started pulling matches together for that yet, but I am definitely going to do my best to make an appearance. So that should be a lot of fun.
Sweet. Yeah, that seems like it'd be entertaining if nothing else. So.
Oh, absolutely. That's half the point of that stuff, right?
All right. Let's. There's since we're gonna do some Omega Crux and Pitch Purple. There's a couple comments in the comment section that I might throw over your direction, since you don't answer enough of the questions in the chat anyway. When are we going to see I'll catch up on something here. Are we going to see a 2-month report card for the Phase 3? Yes, I'm just buried with everything else. So, just got the Sonic. It's now my favorite. That's a big thumbs down. No, I really like the Sonic. It just didn't like me. So, all right, let's see. Potential comparison, Omega versus Phase 2, just because I love the P2 so much. And I know that you're already a big fan of the Omega, and you've had like 7 Phase 2s. Well, probably like 4 or 5, but what do you think about that one?
Drilled number 6 on drilled my 6 about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
So you're pretty close.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think? Omega versus Phase 2.
I don't think it's. So you remember your Phase 3, Phase 2 video?
Yeah.
You called it Phase 2 and Phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
I view the Omega and the Phase 2 in that same type of context, honestly.
Yeah.
They both have that. Yeah, I know you've talked a lot about that kind of winding, climbing arc you get out of the Velocity Cork in the Phase series.
Uh-huh.
The Omega, I know the Physics kind of has this trait as well. It's just got a little faster response cover. But the Omega definitely has that same like climbing, rolling type of feel. It's just that it's a little easier to get it into the roll phase, and the cover provides a little more natural traction than the Phase 2s.
Uh-huh.
So like today, for example, I bowled a UBA team rankings match at a center I'd never been to before. And so I'm coming in blind. I knew it usually tended to play a little on the slicker side. And so I think I threw like 2 shots of my IQ Tour Solid, and it did absolutely nothing. Yeah. So I knew right then that I was looking at getting to one of my bigger balls. I had my Omega and my Phase 2 with me. And I knew one of those 2 would be the play.
Uh-huh.
And so it was just a matter of then figuring out, okay, do I want this like smoother arc shape that's going to roll a little later? Or do I need that little bit of extra help to get the ball rolling through the pins properly?
Yeah.
And if I need to be throwing a big ball with surface, one of those 2 is going to strike on pretty much anything for me. Mm-hmm. And it's just a matter of kind of different shapes down lane. They go through the pins a little differently because of symmetric versus asym cores and how they shape. Yeah. But they actually they feed off of each other super well, in my opinion.
Yeah, they've got kind of similar looks on the lane. I'd imagine that the Phase 2 would be a little bit better, the shorter on like a, not a short pattern, but something 40 to 42, and then anything a little bit longer than that you need more torque for, that's where the Omega'd come into play.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like today. It felt like I was really close with the Phase 2. If I had to spitball just kind of going off of base feel, it felt like I was on 42 to 43 feet and probably 25 mils. Mm-hmm. So, pretty substantial amount of volume, not a super high friction surface, and not a short or even like borderline long oil pattern. And I needed that help to, with a 500 rev rate, I still needed that extra bit of kick to get it through the pins properly.
Yeah,
and ended up was able to throw my Omega all 3 games, and I shot 749, I believe.
Yeah. So Yeah, that'll get it done. And that's something I've been talking a lot about recently is paying more attention to lane surface friction rather than just kind of looking at a pattern graph or something and saying, okay, well, there's this much volume, and so it's going to do this, or I need to take this. The lane surface plays a lot more into it than I think people realize.
Yeah, lane surface and oil volume, I think, are honestly more important than even pattern length. Because, the way, and I've heard some pros talk about this, is like all their number one priority out on tour is controlling the fronts and the mid lane. That is, getting your ball to start the hook phase in the correct spot. And if you don't have that, then you're going to be fighting your ball reaction realistically. And so, kind of if you look at how I've built my arsenal, and the Omega Crux is definitely a part of this as my highest friction created ball in my bag, is I've got everything from an Omega to a Hustle Link sitting in my trunk right now.
Yeah.
And that's just for those different levels of both lane surface friction and pattern length, but friction and oil length essentially.
Yeah.
So I bowled today at High Point Bowling Center and threw an Omega Crux for 3 games. And I'm bowling a mixed doubles tournament tonight where my Omega Crux is sitting in the trunk, and I'll probably not throw a cover stronger than my IQ Tour Solid for 5 games.
Yeah.
But that's they're both on house shots, but the place I'm bowling tonight, a lot more friction built into the lane surface, and it's not quite as long of an oil pattern that they put out for the normal house shot. So that's kind of the point of an arsenal, and I think this kind of keys back to that phase 2 versus Omega Crux. Is I think they both have a spot. Those types of reactions both have a spot in an arsenal because they do slightly different things down lane and kind of give you some options to work with so that you can have a better chance of creating a good ball reaction in different situations, even if you don't know what you're coming into necessarily.
Yeah. All right, so here's another question along the same lines. Will the Omega Crux complement the Alpha Crux? And since you recently acquired an Alpha Crux, I guess it's been a month or 2 now, but how do you see those two comparing to each other?
I will preface this by saying that I haven't thrown my Alpha Crux a whole lot. It's got about 40 games total on it. About 10 of those are mine. And I've done just a little bit of testing of the Alpha and the Omega side by side with pretty similar surfaces on them. The Alpha, honestly, and this is a good illustration of what you talked about in your Alpha Crux versus Astro video as well, is the Alpha and the Omega actually feel really, really close in terms of when they start the hook phase. Even though the Alpha is a solid and the Omega is a pearl.
Yeah.
The surfaces are pretty close, and I think a lot of people are still discounting just how strong that GI-20 cover is on the Omega Crux.
Yeah.
So it's I definitely feel when I threw them side by side, I definitely felt a lot of shape similarity, and I think that was driven largely by them having the same core and very similar layouts for me. But so they both started in about the same spot. The shape felt pretty similar. The Omega just felt more responsive, honestly. The Alpha was a little more rolly, not quite as much change of direction, and the Omega just kicked a little harder.
Yeah.
Whether that's due to the fact that my Alpha was used versus my Omega was brand new at the time. And, I'm sure the updates in cover technology, I'm sure, factor into that as well. But they feel pretty close. If you have an Alpha and you just want something to kick a little more but start in the same spot, but I think the Omega would be great. If not, then, maybe you're looking at something like an Astrophysics as a shiny complement that might be a little better fit.
Yeah. All right, so how similar is GI-20 and R3S? And this is... We haven't seen sanded R3S yet, but I don't know, have you taken your Phase 3? Have you taken the shine off of it? Or I'm not sure if we've seen similar enough balls to really compare those cover stocks yet, but what do you think?
I don't know if I can really answer that properly, because my Phase 3, yes, I have touched it very lightly with a pad, but it's still basically shiny right now.
Yeah.
And versus my Omega Crux, I've already touched it a couple times with a pad just to keep that surface on it because I think it rolls better with fresher surface on it rather than being lane shot, at least for me. So it's an apples versus oranges comparison, I think, to a certain extent. I would be willing to wager, though, that R3S, especially in hybrid form, would be a lot faster down lane than GI20.
Yeah, I'd say
Than
so.
Comparing, say the Phase 3 cover versus the Omega cover, R3S hybrid versus GI20 Pearl. I think the GI20 Pearl is going to be definitely stronger and rollier versus, I think it's been pretty well documented how clean and how fast the Phase 3 and Intense Fire were.
Yeah.
Even though the cover still creates a lot of traction. I think you're going to see, even though it's not technically as strong of a cover front to back, I think you're going to see more motion, especially on house, out of the R3S cover. This would be my guess, at least.
Yeah, and I would be interested to see R3S Pearl versus GI20 Pearl. It might, again, that's one of those where I think the Intense was earlier and smoother than the Intense Fire was, which is kind of contrarian, but it goes back into sometimes cover types, sometimes the different cover types matter and sometimes they don't. And that's one of those kind of interesting backwards seeming things. You don't really think Pearl's going to be earlier and smoother than the hybrid version, but R3S hybrid's just kind of weird, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, I think Tamer says this a lot, is balls are shapes and shapes are tools.
Yeah.
So it's, you can, and bowling isn't really done on paper. It's not done in a lab. It's done in real life. So,
yeah.
A great example of that is the Hustle Link that I always carry around. It's a solid cover stock, but it's weak and it's shiny and it's got a weak core in it. So it's actually really, really good to get down lane and then control your down lane motion when there's a lot of friction.
Yeah, and I think yeah, go ahead.
My strong ball right now in my bag is a sanded asymmetric Pearl, and my weak bag is my weak ball is a shiny symmetric solid. So happy opposite day.
Yeah, I'm going to do something really interesting. I'm going to do, as soon as I get done with all the regular videos I'm planning on doing, I'm going to do an Axiom versus High Road X video. And the reason for that being is that they're both solids. And anybody that gets questions about bowling knows that somebody says, well, I need a Pearl, what should I get? Or I need a solid, what should I get? Well, the Axiom and the High Road X are both technically solids, but I'm not sure that you could get, aside from going Axiom versus ink, I'm not sure if you could get too much further away in ball reaction. And
given that the High Road X is sharper than the ink down lane.
Yeah,
I do think that's actually the better extreme comparison in my opinion.
So yeah, I think that's a project on the back burner, but I think that one's going to be a whole lot of fun. Have you gotten your nuclear cell yet?
I have not. It is. It's on a FedEx truck somewhere, I think in Tennessee. Last time I checked.
Okay.
So I believe it's getting delivered tomorrow, so I'll be able to throw it early next week.
Okay. Well, let's hit the pitch purple here for a minute. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then I'll probably let you go and try to catch up with some questions here. What do you think about the pitch purple?
So the pitch purple is an interesting one. For those of you that have seen the videos on my channel, Schumacher Enterprises, you know that I've got a lot of rev rate. I think I'm probably low 500s off the hand, but I also have a lot of ball speed. And when you combine those two characteristics with knowing that 95% of what I'm bowling is on house shot, I just never have the chance to really use urethane and actually have it be effective. At my level, if I'm getting 9, I'm losing. Is essentially what it boils down to. And that's the same reason as when I threw the spec balls, they provided a lot of control, but I just got 9 too much with them, and that's just kind of a function of how I matched up with that cover. So urethane as a whole has had that issue for me pretty much ever since I've been bowling, more or less.
Yeah.
With that said, the pitch purple goes through the pins better than any urethane I've ever thrown. It definitely has that same urethane control type of feel. I drilled a pitch black at the same time as my pitch purple, and they both have that same very controlled, very smooth motion that, no surprises type of reaction.
Yeah.
But the pitch purple just seems to kind of punch the pins a little better than the pitch black does. So I think, am I going to carry it around for my grab and go house shot tournament bag? Probably not, because, like I said, I if I'm getting 9, I'm losing.
Yeah.
But if I'm probably going to try and bowl a couple of PBA regionals this summer, and if other sport shop stuff comes up, then I could definitely see myself taking that pitch purple and just putting a ton of surface on it, and use that kind of as a urethane type ball, but one that's going to go through the pins a little better.
Yeah.
It doesn't have. I still don't understand how Chad McLean's video showed him like looping fourth arrow with it.
Nobody understands that video. It's okay.
But I mean, with that said, I was expecting to be kind of meh on urethane overall when I drove both the pitch black and the pitch purple. I was definitely very pleasantly surprised with the pitch black and very impressed with the pitch purple. So it's one where, like, when I'm going out and practicing, it's like, oh, let me bring the pitch purple with me just because it's fun to throw.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty big compliment for me, because I don't, with my ball speed, urethane is asking for a pocket 5.7 half the time.
Yeah, I think that's definitely on the list at some point to drill left-handed. Obviously, we've got those, we've got the Waswonadamski tournaments, the KC tournaments around in the area, and they feature tougher conditions. They've been using the element patterns a lot, and so those are kind of a nice blend between they're scoreable, but they keep you honest. So they've had some tougher ones in the past, but I think on something like that, there's room for urethane, and especially being on the left side, urethane's a little bit more important for that. And then, of course, I'm going to practice all summer leading up to nationals with both hands and see what the better idea is going to be. But there's definitely going to be a pitch purple in either bag that I take, either the right-handed or the left-handed bag to nationals. I think it'd play really well on the team shot. So
are you thinking about going lefty for nationals this summer?
Possibly. I'm gonna the filming that I did yesterday left-handed was quite a bit more encouraging than the last time I tried it left-handed. I thought it was just I was just gonna take forever to get video, and it actually went a whole lot better than it did on the house shot. So mainly because the balls I was throwing were ridiculously strong. So that's part of it, but I actually did quite a bit better on that pattern than I thought I was going to. So I will at least entertain the idea, but the plan for right now is to still bowl nationals this year right-handed.
Okay, and then make the switch before the fall season, I assume?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, very cool.
So, all right, well, I think I'll go on ahead and let you go for right now, or I'll let you get back to the keyboard, and I've got some comments to catch up with here, and we'll probably do this again once you get some games on the nuclear. Like I said, I just got mine Thursday. Yeah, I just got mine Thursday, and I drained the camera chip again. I got 2 hours and like 15 minutes of filming on this chip that I got, and I use all of it every single time, and it's screaming at me that the camera's gonna turn off or it's gonna stop filming before I'm ready for it to stop filming. So I've already got quite a bit of time on the nuclear, but thanks, James, for calling in, stopping by. Thanks for managing my chat for the rest of the time here while I ramble on about some other kind of nonsense that pops into my head. So good luck tonight, and you got more tournaments tomorrow too, right? Or another event or something?
Yeah, so tonight I've got the mixed doubles tournament, and then tomorrow I've got my other travel league, my bowling federation team. We've got a match here in Greensboro as well.
Okay.
So lots more bowling this weekend, and then headed back home and do some laundry before the week gets going. So.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar. It just most of yours is bowling, and most of mine's clicking. So, but yeah, just as busy. James also you run the bowling subreddit and kind of help out with the our bowling Discord and my Discord, the chat servers, and you're a busy guy.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be busy than getting into trouble, so it works out.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thanks for stopping by.
Right.
Good luck this weekend, and we will talk to you next time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right. Once again, you can find James on Shimwrecker Enterprise. Once I flip this back around here. Okay. You can find James on his YouTube channel, Shimwrecker Enterprises. Highly recommend checking those out. He's still kind of getting started into the YouTube thing, but he's made a pretty big splash so far. So very highly recommend Shimwrecker Enterprises and what he's got. So back to some of the questions that been waiting on for a little bit here. How aggressive do you think the nuclear cell is going to be? 540 rev rate lefty. 3 3/8 pin to pap on 44-foot pattern. Well, I did just put my... I'm not quite at 540. I didn't drill the nuclear lefty, but lefty always is sharper, hooks more. And 44-foot pattern, I tried it on the Nationals DNS pattern. If you go watch my nuclear cell in-depth video, I've got footage on last year's Nationals doubles and singles pattern that you can take a look at it. It's going to be cray-cray. And I was going to say that in the review, but I thought, so I'm taking the opportunity now to say it's cray-cray. So, Greg Atwater. Greg and I go way back here. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me and my wife at the demo day in Olathe and taking a pic with my daughter. You're the best. Storm Nation all the way. Definitely, it was good to see you. If you're still watching the video, or Cassie, if you're watching the video, hi. But yeah, Greg used to live in Topeka. He's in Olathe now with his wife and a couple of kids, and so I got to see him at a demo day that we had, storm demo day that we had in Olathe, Kansas, a couple weekends ago. So yeah, it was good to see you guys and catch up with you. And your daughter's awesome, by the way. She's just cool. I love her. I love her style and just kind of doing her thing. And so, yep. Good times. Hope to see you again sometime. See you more often. That'd be fun. Let's see. Back. Looking forward to the fused and nuclear comparison. That's actually the first one I'm going to write later. Due to my schedule, I have to kind of work on the weekends, and so I have to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I travel for work. I'm a state bridge inspector. We travel all over the place. And so I leave Monday morning and I get back Thursday afternoon. I go bowl league Thursday night. And so as soon as I get up on, Friday, I go film for the week, and then I spend the rest of the weekend making videos. And I can do some writing, and I'm going to do some writing this week in the hotel room at night. But I only have the weekends to make the ball videos. I'm a little behind right now. We had some shipping mishaps. And so I got some stuff later and just kind of been behind. So I've got some videos to catch up on so that I can have some stuff to kind of release throughout the week and then kind of prepare going into next weekend. So, but yeah, so I've got I've got to catch up a little bit because I don't have any other videos to post the rest of the week as of right now. The Axiom video I can put up next Friday. But I do need to get the fused and nuclear comparison. I've got that, and I did a surface comparison. I took them both to 3,000 because I always thought that the fused was a whole lot better at 3,000 than it was shiny out of the box. The nuclear is kind of a give and take, and it's really, really interesting that I can't necessarily say it's better in some ways, it's worse in some others, and so there's a whole lot more of a trade-off. Instead of saying, well, the fused was okay with the factory shine on it, but it was a whole lot better with 3,000 on it. There's you lose something putting surface on the nuclear, but then again you gain something putting surface on the nuclear, so that's going to be fun. I also did that because I'm going to compare it to the Omega Crux, both big Pearl ASIMs, so we're going to get that comparison too. So I should be able to get a couple more videos done during the weekend here. So do you feel like too many bulbs are getting released too close together? Probably, but things are a little bit crazy right now with the Brunswick purchase of Ebonite. They're just now starting to get out a bunch of Ebonite brands, former Ebonite brand stuff, Columbia, Track, Ebonite and Hammer, they're starting to release equipment for all those brands now. And so I don't think Storm necessarily feels pressure to try to keep up, because at some certain point, you know, when you have 7 brands worth of equipment that's coming out like constantly for those staffers, I don't envy them one bit trying to keep up with all that. It's hard enough just keeping up with the 2 brands that we have right now. But I do feel like some of the balls right now are kind of stepping on the toes of some other ones. There was a couple of dates that got pushed back. The Phase 3 has been really popular, and so they had to push back some dates of some things. The Axiom accidentally got leaked early because somebody didn't get the memo that the release date was pushed back, and so they went ahead and decided to just go ahead and announce that one a little bit early. But yeah, it's some stuff's kind of stepping on some toes, and it's kind of interesting for me too, because here we go, the Omega Crux and the Pitch Purple released yesterday, and I'm already thinking, getting out nuclear cell videos and preparing for Axiom videos and everything else. And so I kind of, you know, I put my thumbnail together for the live stream, and I put the title up, and I just completely glossed over the fact that the Omega Crux and Pitch Purple came out yesterday. So, and they definitely deserve their own share of attention, but you know, in the world of marketing or advertising or ball video making, as soon as something's announced, people want to see it. So that's what I do. Need some advice on my arsenal to use on my league. I have a High Road Nano, a polished High Road Solid, Daredevil Danger, and a Crux Prime in my bag. That's a whole lot. I shouldn't say this, but that's a whole lot of ouch. The High Road Nano's on the smoothish side. I did actually like the High Road Nano because I just really like that cover. The High Road Solid was not that great. The Daredevil Danger and it's like when somebody puts a status on Facebook saying it's when their relationship status is it's complicated. That's the Daredevil Danger. And the Crux Prime, I really like the Crux Prime, but it's pretty slowish, and it has a lot of situations it's better in than others. But for a league bag, none of that there screams league stuff. So I'd probably look more to something like a Hustle Inc., a regular High Road, or the High Road Nano might actually be really good. Depends on how you throw the ball. Idle Pearl, and then like a Physics or something to kind of give you some more shape, some stronger options on the back end. But yeah, so yeah, you might want to look for stuff with a little bit more shape. So like I said, Hustle Inc., the High Road Nano would probably fit just fine. Idle Pearl and like a Physics, I'd think would be a pretty solid league bag. So oh, an Intense, yeah, the Intense might. The Roto Grip Winter was interesting for me as well. It worked really good from straighter on the fresh, but as soon as I had to go to move, then all of a sudden we had problems. So heckin' urethane, but it's purple urethane. So yeah. Apparently if it's purple urethane, it works a whole lot better. Yeah. People like new stuff. Someone said Chad was on 35 feet in that video. In one of the videos, he was on 35 feet. The other one, he was on their regular beaten path 41 foot stuff. In Chad's own video that he posted on his channel before the ball was announced as a U.S. release, back when it was just international, they were on the 41 foot beaten path video that they use for a lot of their normal reviews. So. Yep, my wife Angel's ordering a 256 gigabyte chip for my camera, so now I'll be able to bowl for 4 hours at a time and get way too much video. So yep, thanks once again, James, for coming on. That helps break things up a little bit instead of me just rambling the whole time. First staffer to ever say that. Interesting. Nationals bag, Phase 3, Gravity Evolve, Sherlock, Snaplock, and Code Red polishes. What might work with them? Medium rev rate. That's a lot of strong stuff, and for the doubles and singles pattern, that'll probably be all right. You're going to need some, like James is saying here, IQ Tour Solid. You're going to need something smoother and more controllable for the team pattern, because most of the time the problem that people have is the ball gets to the end of the pattern, it screams left, and so instead of trying to stay right and control the lane front to back, they just move left, and then they completely destroy the shot for the rest of the time. And that's why most people bowl so badly on the team shot, not just because it's traditionally more difficult. It's because it starts out difficult, and because of the choices they make it even harder. And so that's why team's generally a disaster for people. Super excited for the Nuclear. I've been unwilling to take my Hypercell skid out of the bag since I got it. I think I'll finally be able to retire it. Yeah, the Nuclear is going to be stronger, but every ball has a settling in period. So after probably 20 to 30 games, it'll tame down and settle in a little bit, and I think you should probably be fine then. Just bought a Crux Prime, hate it till I put a little polish on it, shot back-to-back 700 cents. I keep talking about shine on the spec cover. It really loves shine. It's so ridiculously strong and early that with as smooth as it also is, it tends to do a urethane thing. It starts up early, and then it just doesn't have enough left over for the back end. But yeah, with some shine on it, spec's pretty amazing. So, oh god, yeah, the danger puke's just enough to shoot bills. Yeah, yep. Yeah, thinking of buying a urethane ball. What's the difference between the pitch black and the pitch purple? Yeah, there's more downlane motion from the purple. It's got some resin additives in it, and so it's not traditional urethane that's going to dig in and be super smooth down lane. It's still going to be fairly, it's still going to be on the smoother side, but it doesn't dig in quite as early as the pitch black, and it's got more shape down lane. Had the Prime twice. The first I kept sanded. It was trash to me. Then I bought another one because I thought the drill was bad, so I polished the second one, and it was worse. Interesting. Man. Heckin' awesome. You think the Idol Pro and Omega would be a good 1-2 combo? Yeah, I could definitely see that working, because the shape ideas are fairly similar. And the Idol Pro would be a good step down from the Omega, especially with a little bit of lane shine on it. I do like lane shine on the Idol Pro. So, bowling in tournaments, are you going to take reactive stuff you've been bowling with or drill new stuff? It really depends. Sometimes you want fresh covers, and other times you want stuff that's already been broken in and is tamed down a little bit. Like in my new versus old Phase 2 video, sometimes when you're on heavier volumes, longer stuff, you want a fresh cover that's going to get traction and going to dig in. Sometimes stuff that's been used for a while can be a little too soft or a little too lazy. So you want a fresh cover to really be able to, get the friction that you want and give you that sharpness of reaction. But older covers there's a lot of pros that still carry balls around. Like Jacob Buttriff's got one of the whole purple hammer scandal that I'm not going to talk about. Aside from saying this, he's got some older purple hammers that he's carried around with him for a while. I remember some other pros on tour have kind of their tried and true balls that act. And a lot of the time it's stronger stuff. A lot of the time it's stronger stuff that's tamed down a little bit, so it still has that stronger roll to it, but it's not quite as aggressive or firm. And so you get that nice roll of a stronger ball, but without the overwhelming amount of hook. And so yeah, there's some older stuff that I'm going to take to nationals. There's a lot of people that have the guy that owns the pro shops that I used to work for and still kind of work for part-time whenever they need me. He had a Storm La Nina that it was one of the El Nino line 20 years ago, but he had one of those that he'd take to nationals every year just because it was older technology, and it'd give him a heavier roll without hooking a whole bunch. And so that worked out pretty well for him. Cassie Atwater. Hey, Cassie. If you had to pick between the high road and prime, which one would you use? It really depends on what you're shooting on. If you're shooting on like a regular house shot, just like at your regular league that you go to, I'd probably pick the high road. But if you're on, maybe if you're traveling somewhere where you don't know what you're going to be bowling on, some places might be a little bit drier. They might have a little bit less oil or a little bit more oil. Definitely, if they have more oil on the lanes, the Crux Prime would probably be something that you'd want to work with. I would carry both of them around. They both work for me for different situations. I'd say that I use the Crux Prime a little bit more than the high road because I don't get down far enough. Most of the time I use stronger reactions because I don't have to help the ball hook so much. The high road's built for getting down the lane really easily and then having that hard snap on the back end. And the Crux Prime's a little bit earlier and smoother, and I like more controllable reactions generally. And so that's why I kind of favor the Crux Prime a little bit more. But if you want a stronger back end move, if you want to, punch the pins a little bit harder, you'd probably be looking at the high road. If I own the Idle Pearl, will the nuclear cell help or wild streak? Both of those are different from the Idle Pearl. I was going to do an Idle Pearl comparison with the nuclear, but the nuclear is so much stronger that it wouldn't really make sense. And I haven't drilled my new Idle Pearl yet, and I was going to do that, but now I'm going to drill it left-handed. And so that's probably not going to be an option for that comparison. I'm also drilling a Wild Streak left-handed. That's first on the list. So you could really get either one of them. The Wild Streak is kind of even with the Idle Pearl. So yeah, the Idle Pearl is kind of... The Idle Pearl is definitely right in the middle of those, but yeah, the Idle Pearl and the Wild Streak are kind of neck and neck in terms of total board coverage and overall hook, but what they do is pretty crazy different. So, hey Luke, I just did my regional solos and 3 out of 8 people were throwing urethane and the carry down was insane. Yeah. Urethane's not for house shots. What can I do as a bowler to read transition from carry down like that better? Sometimes, the pros complain about this all the time too. Urethane will really wreck a shot and make it difficult even for them. That's why, Sean Rash has said something, has said something about banning urethane. It's just the transition that urethane creates and how much harder it makes people throwing reactive resin is pretty intense. So, most of the time, if you're getting carry down, you want to bowl down to something more controllable. I'm talking IQ Tour Solid, something like that, and move right and use the carry down as hold. Don't try to cut through it, because that's the last thing that most people need to do. Is for some reason they want to go to something sanded that's either gonna hook even earlier and it's not gonna shape on the back end, which is what they're wanting. Or they want something shiny that they think is going to shape more than what they're using. But if there's carry down, the oil down there is going to prevent the ball from back-ending, basically. And so when it does hit the oil, it's going to still go straight. And when it does hit the dry, it's going to be even more responsive. So most of the time, the best idea is to bowl down and move right and use the carry down as hold. That's about the best thing I can recommend. What are you thinking of taking in your Springfield bag? I might bowl Springfield left-handed, dagnabbit. I don't know. Let's see. If I bowl right-handed, the Halo Burn's definitely going again. I need to find a lefty Halo Burn is really what I need to do. Because that ball's been kind of indispensable right-handed. I actually used it quite a bit in Southwest in Wichita here this last weekend. So, Springfield bag, the Wild Streak's definitely going. The Halo Burn's definitely going. The Promotion's definitely going. I will definitely take the Phase 3. The High Road T I went super nutso crazy with last year. I shot 15 something for doubles and singles with a 180 start. I shot 15. Yeah, in doubles and singles, my combine was 1506 or 1507 or something with a 180 the first game of singles, I think. So the very first game of the squad, I think they do singles first in that one for some reason. But yeah, so curious what you would take in a 4-ball league bag. I've been taking a 3-ball league bag. What I normally take, the Promotion goes everywhere. The Wild Streak goes everywhere. It's been Phase 3 and then probably something I'm forgetting at the moment. Let me check out the wall. The Omega Crux is a little bit too strong. My new Astrophysics is really, really great at wrapping 10 pins no matter what. I've been taking the physics, but it's kind of back and forth on whether it's too strong or too weak. But yeah, I think Phase 3 Wild Streak and Promotion would probably be a super easy 3-ball league bag. And then if you want to add something else, Idle Pro perhaps. I've been throwing the Halo Burn. The Halo Burn is like the first one in the second bag. So now back to the Springfield bag. Going left-handed, we're probably... I don't need anything. The doubles and singles house is not dry, but it's on the drier side. So I do have a High Road X that I mentioned earlier that I'm going to go on ahead and drill. I have a High Road Pearl that I just need to change I just need to re-drill the slug. My span was a little too short, so I need to re-slug that. I'm drilling a Wild Streak, so I'd definitely be taking that. I'm drilling an Idle Pearl. I'd definitely be taking that. I have a Hectic still sitting on the shelf here, and it was one of my favorite lefty balls ever. I haven't decided if I can bring myself to put holes in that or not. The IQ Tour Solid is another one that was really good for me lefty that I'll probably go ahead and drill that. And then I have a Promotion down here that I'm probably going to drill. I have an Idle Pro sitting around somewhere. That might be a little bit too much overlap and too much ball period, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that one yet. But that's probably what I would take to Springfield on the left side of the lane. I, of course, drilled a new Idle, and you heard it here first, but my Axiom review is going to be left-handed because I just couldn't see... I don't need an Axiom or a brand new Idle on the right side of the lane. As it turns out, I don't need them on the left side of the lane either because they hook a lot. But I'd probably take one of those. Hopefully they'll settle down a little bit. The Axiom's not supposed to. We'll see. But yeah, I might take one of those for the team house because the team house is usually kind of cray-cray. So that's going to be my new phrase there, by the way, because it's funny. Does anyone still throw the Supersonic? Have one, never threw it. The Sonic, I really liked the Sonic, but it didn't like me. It just would not carry at all, ever, either of them. And the Supersonic was just way too much ball. It's smooth and just way too much ball for me, so, no. Yeah. Spot on review of the Dexter Boa 9HT color shifts. Yeah, those are, I'm probably going to try to get another pair because my 3-hour-long filming sessions every single week, despite the big 4 socks, which I'm actually wearing now. I ordered some more pairs and I wear them around all over the place. Big 4 socks are amazing, by the way. It's one of those things that you don't know what you're missing until you try them. And he even, people will say, well, how many pairs should I buy or whatever? And he's like, well, just buy one. And as soon as you get those, you're going to buy more. So one pair is all it takes. And yeah, the color shift, the HT color shifts are so much more breathable. So much more breathable than the old ones are. But I think I want to get a one pair because I put a lot of I put a lot of traffic on them. I put a lot of time on them when I'm filming for videos. So I'm a little cold here, so let me know if that heater makes too much noise or gets annoying or something. But I'm cold, so I'm turning the heater on. Looking for a compliment to my idle, thinking idle pearl or wild streak. What do you think? Probably idle pearl. The idle and wild streak are definitely quite a bit different too, but that might be solid on top of solid. And I think that you just my nuclear trio that I did with the idle pro and the phase 2 and the idle pearl. Yeah, I mean they're just some of those balls that I think you got to have, and the wild streak is in that mix for me now too. It comes out literally everywhere. I mean, it's one of the, if it's not the first ball out of my bag, it's one of the next balls out of my bag. If I think there's going to be some oil out there on the fresh, I might start with something else, but the wild streak's going to come out at some point. So, Omega, good compliment to Halo Vision. I don't know. I didn't throw the Vision long enough. It's actually, the Omega's more throwable for me than the Halo Vision. I think the Vision's a little stronger and a little sharper. So there's probably too much overlap there, but I'm not entirely sure. I know you're posting a video comparing Surface soon, but with Surface, do you think the nuclear has a stronger cover than the Omega with Surface? Stronger is relative, but yes. I get both more traction, an earlier motion, a stronger motion, more hook, earlier hook, more continuation than the Omega. They get fairly similar from a shape perspective, but I think just watching them on the lane, you'll see that the nuclear is ridiculous. I don't know what Roto keeps doing to these cover formulas every single year that just makes them so much crazier than the year before, but even just, and I'm not talking like a deep 3000. I'm talking like what most people do if they're at a tournament and they need a little surface. They get a 3000 pad out of the bag and they scuff it up by hand for like 30 seconds and then they go to it. So it's not like not like putting it on the spinner and giving it a hard 3000 or starting with like 500 and then going back up to 3000. We're just talking breaking the shine. We're not even like factory 3000 like the Omega is, and the nuclear is stronger. It's just insane. I was stunned at how much I think the nuclear hooks as much shiny on the Nationals double and singles pattern as the Omega does with Surface on it. It's just insane. I just bought the Omega and pre-ordered the nuclear. Any recommendations on the layout of the Omega? High rev, high speed player, normally on the typical house shot. I really like my typical ASIM layout, 5 by 3.5 by 2.5, which James can check the math on this, but it's roughly 45 or like 40 or 45 by 5 by 30 or 35 or something like that. Dual angle speak. But yeah, I really like that for my asymmetric stuff because you have a long-ish pin, but then you have a pretty aggressive mass bias placement and a pretty aggressive pin buffer length. And so yeah, it makes it a little bit easier through the fronts, but it really winds up in the mid lane and wants to go down lane. So it's a pretty dynamic layout. And I think, yeah, for high rev, high speed player, I think something like that, 5 by 3.5 by 2.5. Typically, I don't recommend layouts, but I like that one quite a bit. So, or yeah, so like James said down here, 45 by 5 by 40. So yeah. It looks good. La Nina was awesome, yeah. Why are you transitioning to left-handed? Because I'm terrible right-handed. You guys ought to see. Oh. Are your left-handed mechanics that good already? Yeah, well, I've bowled several years left-handed before. So yeah, transitioning to left-handed, and James can attest to this, I have bad mechanics right-handed, and most of the time I bowl is spent fighting my mechanics. I can't stay behind the ball. As soon as I get the ball into my backswing, I twist it sideways because I just don't have the strength to stay behind the ball. And I've done the rehab, I've done whatever else, but I had a shoulder injury way back when, and then compensating for that, I started twisting my arm in the backswing because my shoulder strength, I just didn't have the shoulder strength, so I'd lose the ball, and so without even knowing it, I started twisting my hand in the backswing. Well, now my wrist just isn't handling it, and so my whole right arm is just. And I know that you watch the videos and see, oh well, yeah, there's a lot of revs and it looks, but it's really weird back here, and I'm just kind of making do how I can make do. And when I'm on a fresh shot, that's fairly easy, but when I actually have to make a shot, when I don't have a whole lot of room, or when I bowl on something tougher and I have to actually execute and make a shot, it doesn't happen very often. Now with my left hand, I started bowling lefty because of the arm problems, and so I've bowled, and even before the arm problems, when I started working in the pro shop, I'd go practice righty until my arm would get tired, and then I'd play around left-handed because because of a basketball thing in high school. Everybody was always, with their dominant hand, and so I figured, well, if I learn to use both hands as well as each other more interchangeably, I can be more versatile and not be so easy to guard and things like that. But, oh, Bork. Chad. Man, $24.99. Look out. I'm going to lose my spot when I'm going down there. This is for I'll put the daggone tiara back on right now for $25. Yep. More. Oh, good. Oh, yeah. You and Tobias are in Wichita for Southwest. Sweet. Yeah, and you already know about pizza and AJ's. Now you also have to go to Central Standard Brewing. This isn't even going to fit. You also have to go to Central Standard Brewing because it's amazing. Dempsey's downtown, not the Dempsey's on Rock Road south of North Rock. You want to go to Dempsey's downtown, and then there's an ice cream parlor in an old house that's kind of right there in the middle of the block or whatever, that you got to go to that too. So definitely good luck. Let me know how you and Tobias do. The left side looked like it was wide open, so you don't have any excuses. So thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Back to the lefty nonsense. Yeah, speaking of which, it's a good time for Chad to donate, because Chad is also left-handed, and he knows how... Yeah, this is not going to work. He knows how much the left side of the lane sucks. And so this is something I've put off forever. I've debated for a long time. I used to practice left-handed, and I got fairly good at it. And so when I hurt my shoulder, I bowled a couple years left-handed, and then I got back into it right-handed, and then that kind of deteriorated again, and so I started bowling again left-handed. So I bowled league for about 4 years left-handed and have a lot of practice going. Actually, my earliest reviews when I first got on staff, my first handful of reviews, and you can go back and watch if you're interested, I did reviews. My first 2 reviews were the Skyrocket and the Optimus Solid. I did those left-handed, and then I gradually kept going. I did a Hectic review, I did a High Wire review, I did the original Phase review, the Fight, and then the Match Pearl and Match Solid is when I went back, but that's when I really started throwing it good. If you go watch the Match Pearl, and not the match-ups, but just the regular Match Pearl, Match Solid, High Wire, Hectic, or my Making Progress video, I have a kind of a collection of all of those on there. I really did get to throwing it pretty good, but 3 or 4 years ago, when I went back to righty, I started practicing for nationals that year, and it was abysmal. Like, I was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go bowl it left-handed. It probably won't go that great, but it hasn't really gone that great right-handed. And after like 2 months of practicing, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be lucky to shoot 450 every set. And so that was one of those things that just like, I just can't do this. I've got to switch back to righty for nationals anyway. And then I just kind of stayed with it. You know, I can kind of make things work the majority of the time right-handed, but I've gotten to the point where I always thought it was going to get better. I thought that I would figure some things out. I thought the mechanics would figure themselves out, and I practice a lot. I mean, I bowl a lot just filming for new equipment. I film stuff all the time, and it's not getting better. It hasn't gotten better. I've gotten smarter, but as illustrated at a tournament over the weekend, if I have the world, yeah, I can put numbers up, but if I have to make shots, it's going to be rough and it's going to be frustrating. I would rather average less overall left-handed but be able to execute shots, and that's the best part about once I got done filming for the nuclear and all that stuff, and you know, just being frustrated at not being able to execute the shot I wanted to execute. When I started throwing the axiom and the idle left-handed, it just felt so much better. It felt so much more natural. I could do what I wanted to do, and obviously I'm a little rusty, and so there's consistency issues. You know, I'd dump one or I'd tug another one, but that's just kind of getting back into the swing of things. And when I got on the nationals the nationals doubles and singles pattern from last year for the other part of the filming for that, it went really well. It went quite a bit better than I thought it was going to go. The videos, the review turned out really good. It really did. I'm pretty happy with it, and the rest of that's going to be pretty good. And so I'm very encouraged going forward left-handed. I think when I stopped, my average was almost 210-ish. I think I was only about 60 or 70% on 7 pins though, and that was the majority of what I started leaving. So I'm pretty good on a house shot left-handed. I've gotten to the point where I can definitely make that work. But the left side of the lane is just tougher. It's going to be easier in some situations, and when it is easy, it's not going to break down as fast. So when lefties have a look, they're going to have a look the whole time. But there's also times when they are just absolutely, completely shut out. And tougher shots are even tougher on lefties. So it's going to be an adventure, and it's not exactly something that I was looking forward to, because we do, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, we have the tournament series around here, and I really like bowling those. I have a lot of groups that I go to tournaments with. I've got probably 6 or 7 bigger tournaments a year that I have groups that I go with for, and I'm thinking, well, if I switch to lefty, and I don't know how that's going to work out. These are better, higher average groups, and I didn't want to say, okay, well, I'm just not going to bowl with you guys for a couple years and give up my spot while I'm still trying to get myself into the swing of things lefty. But I've had several bad sets right-handed. I mean, I shot over the weekend, I shot 716 in the first team set with a 190 in the middle, which was great for brackets. And then my second team set, I shot 630. And then in doubles, I had the world, and I used all of it for 790. But then as soon as the lane started transitioning and I had to actually make shots, I shot 640 in singles. And I can do that. I can shoot 640, 650 left-handed all day long, no matter where you want to. I mean, pretty well no matter where you want to take me. So I'm like, if that's... And I've had plenty of really great sets left-handed too. I think my height game's 289 and my height set's 760 or 770 something. So I've put some scores up before, and I think that if I put in some work over the summer, I'll pick up where I left off. I drilled a new plastic ball. I drilled the Team Storm Blue that's really sharp looking. Because I hadn't used plastic before. I tried to flatten a reactive out like I do right-handed. My ProMotion's my spare ball, and my all-purpose utility ball. But I broke down, and I'm going to use a plastic ball left-handed. I'm going to give it a really fair shake. So I think it's going to be good. I don't think I have a whole lot to worry about. And I should have just stuck with it anyway and just sucked that 1 year at Nationals, but I didn't want to go in and drag my teams down. So, but I have a good enough arsenal right-handed to where that stuff's gonna stick around for a while. And so I'm probably gonna go back and forth because my average last year was 238, and with USBC's weird rules about going back and forth, I have to use my entering average for everything. I have to be, that's the biggest problem, is I have to be a scratch bowler, lefty, for at least the next year. So I wanted to be a scratch bowler left-handed before I made the switch, but I'm going to bowl leagues left-handed next year, and will probably, it depends on the tournament. I might bowl some tournaments, like the Springfield tournament coming up. I might bowl that left-handed this year because the group I go with is solid, but it's not, you know, it's not big shots. It's more of a casual, more of a fun thing. But some of the other tournaments I got coming up, I'll probably still bowl right-handed just while I'm making sure I'm up to snuff lefty. So, all right, now that I've got a crap load of comments backed up, thanks again, Chad. Good luck to you and Tobias tonight. Make sure to stop every single place I told you to because they're fantastic. So yes, my left-hand mechanics are quite a bit better than my right-handed mechanics, and I'm going to do a comparison video here coming up. I didn't have enough time to film for it this weekend, so I'm going to do it next weekend. I'm going to do a right-handed versus left-handed, showing you my mechanics, and there's a reason that I don't include my mechanics or me bowling at all in any of my right-handed videos because, yeah, there's a lot of people that probably would have looked at the videos and thought, oh God, that guy throws it terrible, I'm not watching that video. So that's why we just look at the ball reaction, because once the ball hits the lane, I've had several people tell me that before too. It's like, yeah, your ball roll's great, but everything else before that's kind of rough. I'm like, yeah. I mean, every time Brad and Kyle come out with a new mechanics video about staying behind the ball or some other such nonsense, it's like 2 hours. It's like 2 weeks after they've crossed with me at a tournament, or I've bowled with Brad or something. Brad's from kind of the same area. Brad's from Lee's Summit, Missouri, which is the greater Kansas City area, so I see him occasionally. And Kyle comes over for some tournaments every once in a while too. But I'll see these guys at tournaments, and then a couple weeks later, here's a mechanics video about something that I do wrong. So I think it's just a coincidence. I think it's a coincidence that I just happen to do everything wrong mechanically. So I think that's really what the problem is. So, James is answering questions. Yes, thank you. Funny you say that about urethane, considering I do that Thursday night. 189 first game, ball down, move right, 235, 255, and everyone else was shooting garbage. Yes. Now, the one thing, going back to I'm not going to ramble on this too much longer, but the one thing that I really appreciate about all the mechanical problems I've had right-handed is I have to get so much better at everything else, because I can't count on execution for my scores. I have to count on reading ball reaction and knowing layouts and surfaces and lane play and lane surfaces and oils and everything else. I have to spend so much more up here time to make sure that I can get the scores, because I can't count on, I don't have one of those great physical games that allows me to get away with a bunch of stuff that people with better games can. And so I have to, the majority of my scores are up here. They're not down here, because this is awful. So, recommendations for someone who's been using urethane for 30 plus years but now wants to begin using reactive resin. Yeah, I think James got you covered on that one. Probably, yeah, Hustle Ink IQ Tour Solid. The ink's a little snappy out of the box, so you might take the surface off of it. But those are definitely a couple of good ones to start with getting into it. Oh yeah, new in-box alphas are tough. Never owned a high road or any variation of one. Which one would be the best one to get? Yeah, The original, either one, the original or the High Road Pearl. I'm on the fence about the All Road. Let's see. My tournament bag is Halo, Idle, Pearl, Hustle HSB, and Spare. Should I consider High Road, All Road, Wild Streak? Lower revs and play fairly straight. Yeah, there's a pretty big gap between your Idle Pearl and Hustle HSB, so... Yep, original Idle, like James said. I'm just going to go through all these comments and say, yeah, what James said. But there are a lot of people who actually travel on the road, or they're drivers, or they're something or other, and so they actually listen to my live streams. They catch them after the fact, and they just play them, and so they can't see the chat later, so I try to read all the comments so that those of you listening later can actually understand what's going on. If Storm Roto Grip were to do a re-release of some of the classic balls before the new cover rules take effect, what would you like to see? There's not really any new cover rules. The sky's the limit. I'd love to see the X Factor again. I think most people would like to see the X Factor again. Definitely, that's the one I'd like to see again. But yeah, there's some older ones that when they reduce the differential from, I believe, 080 to 060, there are some there that got banned. But the new cover rules, that's one of those things where the new cover rules literally changed nothing, because the quickest absorbing cover so far was still under the tolerance, so that nothing had to be grandfathered, nothing's getting banned, and nothing older is banned either. So yeah, it's just one of those things to stop any more forward progress. But hook and absorption rate have nothing to do with each other, so that rule is just weird anyway. Pitch Purple coming in from a Wong raffle. Never threw urethane, so I'm not sure I'll even drill it. Yeah, like James said, the new cover stock rules impact 0 balls that have been improved. So, the Pitch Purple is actually, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, if you're not bowling on tougher conditions, I wouldn't drill it for a house shot. But if you're bowling on tougher conditions or want to go to nationals or something, it's the perfect blend between something like maybe an ink with surface on it and a pitch black, which a pitch black is really early, not a whole lot of shape. Something like the ink's a little bit longer and has more shape, but something to kind of split the gap in there. The Pitch Purple gives you more traction, earlier, smoother, like urethane, but still gives you a little bit more pop down lane than traditional urethane gives you. It's funny you talk about a heater. I'm at work replacing a heater in a semi right now. Sweet. Well, I've got my little space heater down here that's keeping me toasty. So, oh, hey, I'm from Wichita, Kansas. Going to be turning adult in the next couple of days. I'm buying a ball for the tour and regionals. Should it be the Pitch Purple or Omega Crux? Yeah, I think James will take care of that. James is taking care of that one. There's a whole lot of variables there. Tons and tons of variables, so that one's kind of tough. Actually, if there's a lot of really, really good bowlers in Wichita, so if you can get a hold of Nick Summer or Wesley Lowe, Austin Bolds, I know most of the guys that live down there are out on tour right now, but so yeah, just there's a lot of people down there that know what they're doing. Yeah, Dylan Burns, Derek Lewis. I know Dylan's on with Motive, but yeah, there's a lot of people that could probably help out there. Yeah, 5 by 3.5 by 2.5, pretty much exactly 45 by 5 by 40. Okay, sweet. You need something between the P3 and Omega, or something weaker than the P3. The P3 is close enough to the Omega that I don't think, I mean, you could fit an Astrophysics in there, maybe a Halo Pearl, but then you're really splitting hairs. You're really trying to... Oh yeah, what time is it now? Oh, we got time, but we'll see. I'm hungry too. Yeah, by the way, we're cutting I mean, it's only 20 after 4, so it's 4:20. So we're going to cut the stream off at 5 o'clock because that's when the U.S. Open starts back up. I'm not sure that it'll last that long anyway, and I'm starting to get hungry. But yeah, if you want to join my Patreon or my Discord, the Patreon thing, there's free previews. Basically, they only charge your card the first of every month, and so if you want to sign up and pledge an amount just to check it out and see what's up, we have a private chat server on Discord. We have a public chat server on Discord as well too. That's completely free. Nothing to you just sign up for it. That's all taken care of. But if you're interested in the Patreon thing, that's $5 a month. I normally have video scripts that go up early. There's some other stuff. If I find something interesting somewhere else, I'll share it. It's kind of like kind of try to make it a bowling hub. But most of the point for Patreon, since I'm not a big fan of the website, is kind of access. It's kind of the gateway or the access to our private Discord chat server. It kind of filters out all the negativity and the internet trolls and whatever else. We've got a really good community. There's a lot of people that have joined recently that wish they would have done it a while ago. And so yeah, you've got constant access to me, to James, to several other people that are in there. We've got a really nice community built. So, but yeah, the Patreon's more a gateway to our private chat server. Anyway. Oh, Bork. Oh, Nick Brown. Nick Brown. Oh, Bork. Oh, man. I gotta catch up with all this stuff. Man. Oh, man. I'm way behind. That's what happens when I ramble. Sure glad James is answering everybody's questions because I'm getting to them years after. Yeah, I like a little lane shine on my solids. This is Ryan. He's one of the Discord guys. He's been down here a couple times. Idle pros become this strong arse continuous monster that comes in behind the head. Mine does the same thing. Tried rescoving with the 3000 pad, but still doing it. That is when I tend to move right and straighten it out a little bit so it doesn't have so much. And you got to play with the angles a little bit because if you move a little bit too far right, then it's gonna pick up too quick. But that one's one that as soon as I've trusted that it's not going to go as crazy as it used to, that's one that I really like because I can roll it without any kind of overreaction. Now it's almost like the original idle lane shined and got a lot of use on it. So yes. I would say just try to keep it at 3000 and try moving around on the lane a little bit and play with some different angles. Yep, nuke is definitely stupid strong. Have seen the pros at PBA events throwing the Omega and P3s, but the P2. I imagine you meant P2. Yeah, P2. But has anyone been throwing the P3? It's not one of the. If you have a Phase 2, what you would do to the Phase 3 to make it more usable on tougher conditions would basically, as close as you could get it, it still wouldn't be a Phase 2. In the situation where you would use a Phase 3 is very few and far between, and most of the time the pros it takes about a year for something to really filter onto the tour because when they're going out, every single shot matters, and so it's not like, oh, I think I'll throw the new block or throw the new ball this block. And when they're in practice, they want to get as good of a read on the lane surface more than anything as they can, and so they're going to use stuff that they already know and they like. Now, when they might start to use newer stuff is when, they know that they're not going to make the cut, or And just like, okay, well, let's give this thing a shot. Or if they've gotten out of the tournament, I think they do have practice sessions where some guys can stay around and practice a little bit more while the tournament's still going on. And so they might try different things there. Or if they just don't have that great of a look with anything, they might listen to the reps, and the reps might, hey, give this new one a shot and see what happens. So I think that, because we're just now starting to see the idol here in the last 4 or 5 months. It's been out for a while, and you'd see it on tour every once in a while, but now they're everywhere. Francois won last year's U.S. Open with one. Chris Prather's had it a bunch. Simonson's thrown it, and so now, yeah, you're seeing the idol all of a sudden all over the place, winning tournaments and whatever. And so it took that ball about a year and a half to really filter out on there. I'm surprised to see the Omega so early. But I think that Prather's one of the ones that talks to his reps quite a bit, and so I think that that's how that happened. They saw what was going on and say, hey, let's try it, and he's like, okay, sure, let's go for it. So that's how I imagine that happened anyway. What should I add to my arsenal after the Astro? Medium rev's pretty matched as far as speed is concerned, I think. Never been measured in the middle of my first league season. Probably something down from that. Yeah. Clear Blue Team Storm Poly, yeah. That's it, plus a spare ball. Yep. So you're probably looking, you're probably, I'd add a IQ Tour Solid to that or something. That's a really pretty can't miss type of thing. Getting my Omega Crux soon is going to sit next to my Crux Prime in my arsenal. It's a good place for it. Can the Crux Prime replace the Halo? No. Definitely not. Yeah, UFO would be the one to replace the Halo, so... Getting back into bowling after a long break of about 20 years. Have a Storm Tropical Surge and a spare ball. What would be a good step up from the Surge? Yeah, I think, IQ Tour Solid Hustle Link, something like that. Something around in that area would be pretty good, so... Yeah, no one does anything more wrong from a textbook point of view than Buttriff. At least even though he kind of corkscrews his wrist, at least he stays behind it and gets through it. I don't even do that. So all my stuff's in the wrong direction even that way. Yep. Nuclear cells, great on carry down because you want a shiny ball. Hello, Nicholas. Yeah, you mean a super quick shiny ball isn't good for carry down? But a guy on the internet said it would be. Yeah. Do any of the jersey companies use stretchy fabric like Under Armour? I've gotten a logo infusion jersey but didn't care for it. Yeah, they don't generally use stretchy stuff. It's a little bit more structured, like my my EFX jersey that I've got right here does have a little bit more, forgiving material here. It does stretch out a little bit, but generally they want to, keep it from, I don't know. I don't even know, so I'm not even going to speculate on that. But yeah, my High Five jersey that I just got's okay. I like this one. Okay, I like Logo Infusion. Logo Infusion sponsors the majority of the tournaments and stuff that I bowl and the people that I'm affiliated with, so I go more the Logo Infusion route now. My wife really likes Cool Wick. She found a paw print jersey that was pretty cool, and she really likes those, so... crap. Oh, yeah. With the slower absorbing covers like spec and microcell polymer, would you suggest keeping the surfaces newer to keep the reaction more consistent? And that's one of those things that Chad McLean's mentioned. He says, yeah, you definitely want to keep those clean. You want to keep the dirt off of them because it's not absorbing, it's going to sit on the top a little bit more. So you definitely want to keep those covers clean. Through the nuclear cell and the Omega Crux at a demo today. Luke, what are your feelings about an Omega nuclear cell 1-2 punch? They seem to complement each other. Yeah, I thought that there was going to be some overlap there, especially once I took 3000 to the nuclear, but the Omega is rounder. It's rounder, it's smoother, and the nuclear is, if you want a similar amount of hook, but you want two different shapes or two different looks, yeah, Omega and nuclear would be pretty good. So good to be able to ask questions and get real answers. Yeah, sometimes I get myself in trouble, but yeah, I mean, I'm a pro shop guy, so that's the angle I like to take things from. And if it doesn't sound flattering sometimes, I mean, not everything's the newest, bestest out there. I mean, it's like golf clubs. You could have a new driver come out that's really, really great, but I'm not going to tell you to use it to chip when you're 50 yards out. That doesn't make any sense. So my personal thought is that the nuclear cell will be a house shot killer. I threw the ball and it kicked left off the spot. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those get left for right type balls. It's a really simple formula. There's not a whole lot to miss there. People are going to like it just because number one, it looks really good on the lane. I mean, it's the color scheme's really nice, and it turns sideways when it hits friction. And so even if people don't bowl well with it, they're going to like it. It's just one of those that you can't help but go staffer guy on it. It's like, well, what are you gonna, if you say anything bad about something like that just to sound contrarian or honest or objective or whatever, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This is the nuclear is legit, and people are gonna like it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Hey man, stuck between Squatch Hybrid, IQ Emerald, and the P3. I understand they're different, but I think I could use each one at some point. Could really use your input. I can't really talk about the Squatch Hybrid for a couple reasons. But IQ Emerald P3, James would have to talk to you about the IQ Emerald because it's never really worked for me. But it really depends on the situation. So. Okay, have a pink widow and a gold widow. Really working on my release and want another good ball that'll meet me halfway when operator error kicks in. Yeah, I think like Shimwrecker / James says, Idle Pearl or Emerald. I think if you want something a little bit more forgiving, then yeah, you don't want to go with something that's sharper or more aggressive. So, got that question answered. Crap. So I've narrowed down my new ball selection to the IQ Tour Solid and the Phase 2, which would be more fitting for bowling on a THS as a tweener with medium ball speed. The Phase 2 be too strong? Probably not. I think what did James say? P2 has a bit wider range of use. Yeah, you can't really make a bad decision between those two. Initially, the Phase 2 is going to start off probably a little bit too strong, but as you get some games on it, it settles in really nicely. And so if you watched my my Phase 2 video, the new versus old, the old one has settled in really nicely, and it's like a daily driver for a bunch of stuff. So. I'm a two-hander with medium res, and I've only owned urethane. I'm bowling on high volume house shot all summer this year, and was thinking getting a Phase 2 and an IQ Emerald. Are those good choices? Yeah, that'd be really hard to go wrong with. I mean, if you're used to urethane, they're going to hook quite a bit more than you're used to. But again, it's one of those things. If you I'm even thinking about trying an IQ Emerald out lefty. I don't know why, because it just doesn't. It's just not my type of thing. But two-handers, generally higher rev bowlers, get along really well with the Phase 2 and IQ Emerald. So, yeah, I can be there in about 12 hours. I like my steak medium rare. Yep. I like it just on the medium side of rare. I'm steak sushi is my jam. So, yep, 4 a.m. steak, yeah. I know you have a video coming out on the topic, but my Astro is my get left throw right ball. P3 actually overlaps some there too. So if I throw in a nuclear, how do the 3 fit together? I think I do. I do have a nuclear versus Astro video coming. The nuclear is orders of magnitude stronger than either one of them. I think, yeah, if you watch my review again, I did add a few shots in of the Astro, and you know, I thought the Astro was pretty strong and pretty quick, and the nuclear just makes it look sick. So I mean, and the Astro is pretty amazing, and as far from a hook potential standpoint, yeah, the Astro, you'd have a whole lot more overlap with the Astro and the P3 than you would with the nuclear. The nuclears, those two are kind of here, and the nuclear's up here. So yeah, how about drilling? What the heck is the difference between pin up and pin down? James answers, pin up, pin down is relative to your fingers. Up will be more responsive, down smoother. Generally, yeah, generally speaking. Shorthand for a more complicated layout. Talk to your PSO. Better had as a conversation. Yeah, it's kind of hard to answer on this, but there's several videos out there that talk about the difference. Storm's VLS video, yeah, like Aaron mentioned, that was C-Storm's VLS video series, or it's the pin buffer layout videos. There's 3 of them, so definitely check those out. Those will help explain a whole bunch of stuff. Looking to replace my alias. Is the UFO a good option? I don't know about the alias. So, okay, James got you on that one. Have a Pink Widow, a Futura, and a Deviate Creed. What would you suggest as the next ball in my bag? Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're after. I have a guy that from back to the layout thing, I have a guy I trust, but he starts throwing out measurements and numbers, and I want to understand how the cores correlate to drilling in general. I haven't had that aha moment. And that kind of takes a little bit wrapping your head around the idea sometimes. I didn't quite get dual angle for a while either, and then it took me a little bit to wrap my head around the VLS thing too. But Alex Hoskins from Storm, he does the pin buffer layout videos, and those help out a lot once you understand that the VLS measurements are just basically core measurements that tells you the orientation of the core inside the ball and how it's going to rotate once you put the fingers in a certain position. And once you understand how the different core orientations react on the lane, then you can kind of piece everything together. So, all right, let's see. What do I got left now? We're down to the end of the chat here. Yeah, U.S. Open, lots of U.S. Lots of U.S. Open action. The final round of match play is tonight, starting here in about 20 minutes. So I'm probably going to cut this off and go get ready to check that out because I want to see who makes the show. Anthony Simonson's bowling well. Belmo's bowling well. Prather's bowling well again. Francois is making a push. I would really like to see him on the show. And he's got 2 U.S. Opens. And I put a post on Facebook a year ago thinking, okay, well, asking how many tournaments do you think, how many U.S. Opens do you think he's going to win? And I'm in the 4 or more crowd. He just has that game that's built for those kind of conditions when you just need control and hitting the pocket. He doesn't have the big rev game like everybody else, and even though he's still kind of younger, he's got that kind of old school guy game mentality, whatever else. I think the tougher the conditions are, the more varied the conditions are. If it's just a grind fest, he's going to be up there too. And I think Norm Duke's bowling really well this weekend, and I think that he's talked about some of the older crowd that's showing up on like Chris Barnes too on some of the dual pattern tournaments where you have one tournament or one pattern on one lane and one pattern on the other lane, or some of these longer format things that require a lot more experience than just skill. I think that's when you're going to see that Frankie, I think, is going to fit in with a lot of that when you need experience, you need a versatile game, and he's just got all that in spades. So I'm still in the 4 and over crowd where I think he's going to win 4 U.S. Opens or more. And if he makes the show, he's got a legitimately really great shot at getting number 3 already. So TJ, yeah, it's on Flow Bowling. The yeah, so no, the if you're talking about the VLS video series, those are just on YouTube. Storm put them up on their YouTube channel. Pin buffer layout system, I think that they put them in, yeah. James put a link to them, so Shimwrecker, check out that link there. He's got all 3 links there actually. So yeah, check out those videos because that'll be the best way that you can understand exactly what a layout is doing. They put a lot of work into those videos, and they're pretty impressive. So yeah, Prather's one of those guys that I've known a little bit just regionally, so it's not one of those I see him on tour and I just magically think he's gonna be a player sometime. No, he was a freak before he went out there, and I'd seen him bowl several times before that, and so for me it's just one of those matter of time type things. And I think it's going to be the same thing for guys like Mitch Hoope and Packy Hanrahan. Ryan Burks is another guy that just started going out on tour this year, and so I think once those guys get some experience and get their feet under them out there and get into things, I think we've seen Mitch was actually on a league team. I'm pretty sure. I think he got drafted last year, and he was on a singles show, and then we just saw Packy on a singles show here recently. But yeah, Prather's one of those guys. He's been out on tour for 3-4 years now, and now that he's gotten comfortable, he's just freakishly good. It's just, that's the only way to say it. It's just ridiculous. Traded an Astro for a promotion, needed a slow round ball. It's a mule. What a great piece. Very accepting to hand change. First set with it, 797. Thanks. Yeah, definitely. I really like the promotion. And like I said, it's my spare ball, but it's my utility ball. So it's pretty smooth, and so I can. And actually, it's kind of funny because James is a big proponent of plastic. And I've always said, well, you take 5 balls in plastic, I take 6 actual balls, so I have an extra option in the bag. And James came to visit last year in September, and I told him, I'm like, we bowled something. I said, okay, if I miss a 10 pin, if I miss 10 pins or whatever else, you can give me crap. But I said, if I drilled a plastic ball, literally nothing would change, because when I throw at my spares, my tracks literally go right between the middle finger. Yeah, they go right between the 2 fingers. It goes right over my bridge and right over the center of my thumb. I literally dead-hand it end over end, and so nothing changes for me right-handed if I have a plastic ball versus a reactive ball that I flatten out, except losing that one extra spot in my bag. Now, left-handed, again, I've already drilled the plastic ball. Maybe one of these days I'll get to where I flat-hand it with a reactive ball, but I think plastic is definitely going to be necessary in my lefty bag, so that's why I went ahead and drilled it. So, yeah. Are you going to switch to left-handed after this season? Oh, you've watched? Yeah. Mole, keep watching the videos. Keep watching the videos. Slow down. Especially pay a lot of attention to the graphics where he shows the core rotation from all 3 of them. He'll have them side by side and say, well, this pin to pap length does this, and this pin to pap length does this, and watch the cores, and you'll get the overall idea. You just got to keep watching them several times. So yeah, I'm switching to left-handed after the season. If you go back in the Q&A just a little bit, I ramble about it for probably 20 solid minutes. But yeah, I'm making the switch to left-handed. Part of the issue of why I haven't done it before is that due to weird USB-C rules, they don't differentiate between left-handed and right-handed. The funny thing is if I bowl left-handed for a couple years and I average 190, I can enter tournaments the following year right-handed and use 190 as long as I don't get re-rated. So yeah, that's actually a thing. Most tournament directors that are on the up and up, probably something that they would catch, but I could legitimately go in with a 190 left-handed average and bowl right-handed in a tournament, and because that's my average, it's a legit thing. It's literally a legit thing, unless I get re-rated, and the tournament director would have to do that. I've argued with them several times over that, but so going into I'm going to end up in the mid. I'm going to end up at 234, 235, something like that at the end of the season. But that's going to be my entering average for everything left-handed next season. So I'm going to be scratch in anything I do left-handed. I'm going to be scratch, and so I'm going to bowl a mixture of tournaments that I have coming up over the next year, this calendar year really. I'm going to be bowling a mixture of some tournaments I'll bowl left-handed, some tournaments I'll bowl right-handed, but I will be bowling left-handed full-time for... Oh, interesting. Why has Luke not been shot with a Nerf gun yet? Because nobody donated to the Shoot Luke with a Nerf Gun fund. You're the first guy that sent anything in. So if you want to see me get shot with a Nerf gun, that little $sign down below the chat line... yeah, hit that thing and enter some numbers in, and here she comes to shoot me with the frickin' gun. But anyway, it's going to be a mixture of, for tournaments, but I'm going to be full-time lefty in leagues, which is going to kind of suck because I'm a team captain every year in my draft league on Thursday nights, and I like the drafting. I like drafting my own team, and so I'm going to have to be on. Yeah, it's right there. Just don't shoot me in the head. We can't afford that. Don't shoot me in the face. I can't trust you with that because you're terrible. Yeah. She's going to shoot me in the head. She's just going to shoot me in the head. Or then you can't. Yeah, then yeah, okay. So she has to shoot me in the head so people can see it on camera. Sounds like some other excuses I've heard some from other people here recently. He only donated once. I mean, it was $10, but
I didn't shoot you in the head this time.
dagnabbit. Yeah.
And actually, Aaron asked in Discord, so one was for Aaron.
Okay, so one was for Aaron because he asked in Discord, and he already pays me money for Patreon on the chat server, the private chat server we have, so I'll allow it. Is there something in particular you did that helped you bowl better when you switch hands? No. Part of it is if you go to switch hands, generally you should have a better understanding what to do, and instead of just kind of starting to bowl and bowling however it naturally comes to you. Uh-oh. Hi, Meastles. You're shedding everywhere. What are you doing? Hi. Meastles. Yep, you're starting to shed. Yeah. Uh-huh. Good job, Panda Bear. All right. But I could pay a whole lot more attention to mechanics, and instead of just trying to get pins down no matter how they have to get down or whatever weird funky mechanical thing I have to do to make that work, I can actually focus on mechanics and make sure I'm throwing the ball the right way and build myself up that way. And so I took, and I had pretty decent mechanics before I hurt my shoulder, so right-handed. But I can pay more attention now to bowling left-handed and making sure that when I'm practicing, I'm doing it right instead of trying to just knock pins down. So I'm starting with a better game plan, a better foundation, and plus, I told the story earlier, but when I played basketball in high school, everybody would always use their dominant hand all the time, and so it got really easy to guard people in high school because if they were right-handed, they'd always dribble right-handed. If they were lefty, they'd always dribble lefty. They'd always go for right-handed layups. It was really easy to figure out, and so I thought, well, if I get good with both hands, then it'll be harder to guard me. Not that I ever got inside the three-point line very often until I was a senior anyway. Not athletic. Like, no, yeah, athletic, just skinny and dorky. So, yeah, just not for more physical sports. Dog, you're worrying me here. Aspen Chubby, holy bork. This dog is muddy as balls.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I just want to get it better.
We have one of the dogs, when she's running, somehow kicks up a bunch of mud onto her undercarriage. I don't know how it works out, but she splashes stuff all over the place, so she's getting a bath. If it's one shot per donation, okay, so James just gave another $2. I don't know if, I mean, you give me a little bit, and then you answer all my questions in the chat. You shouldn't even have to pay, honestly. You don't want Aussie dollars? Too little in the conversation. That's hilarious. I didn't even know guys did live stuff like this, or maybe they do. There's not a whole lot of live streams that do Q&As. They have a lot of people do a lot of vlogs and stuff. It takes a little bit more setup to kind of run a live stream, so it's easier to make videos. But I like doing the live stream thing every once in a while because it helps. Instead of answering questions and comments individually as they come through on the videos, it's nice to be able to do a live stream and just actually talk to people instead of, because again, it's a pro shop type thing. That's why I started doing this to begin with, is to be kind of like a pro shop guy on YouTube as much as I could be anyway, and that's answering questions and helping people out. It's not promoting this ball or that ball and then putting my time in and then running off. It's I don't do it because of what I get out of it or what I promoting things for anybody necessarily. I mean, I make videos that show the balls off, but people have to have bowling balls to bowl. So if I make videos showing you the differences in all of them, that's helpful and also advertising the product at the same time. So I mean, it all works. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about the urethane testing thing. That's just a can of worms that I don't want to get anywhere close to. So oh man, Aaron needs more darts. The wife is upstairs filling the bathtub up for these muddy dogs. So yeah, she'll definitely be back down for the dart gun here in a minute. Okay. I hear the pros talking a lot about having a soft hand at the bottom or rolling the ball rather than trying to make the ball hook. Is that all around better or just because the pattern's on there? Rolling the ball, instead of... really muscling up, it's like any other sport. It's like swinging a golf club. You want to be as loose and as free and as soft with your hands as possible, so that you're not grabbing the club, because that'll actually suck a whole lot of, if you're holding the club and the club's too rigid, it doesn't allow the club head to hit the ball and kind of bounce off of things. You want a nice easy swing so that you can be able to just transfer that energy into the ball. And if you're just clawing or muscling the bowling ball, you're not going to get it off your hand near as cleanly. You're not going to get down the lane near as easily. It just can suck energy out of the bowling ball. It's a hard concept to explain, but generally it's about energy transfer, really. And if you're soft with the ball and roll it at the bottom, then it tends to push down the lane a whole lot easier, because you're not grabbing it and trying to get it to do something right now. So it's hard to explain. So are you switching just to look better with mechanics or better numbers? I'm switching because it's not to look better with mechanics, but that's part of it. But if my mechanics, even if they looked weird, if they were more reliable or I could be more consistent with them, I wouldn't worry about it so much. It's just the bonus of switching is that I actually look like I know what I'm doing, instead of looking bad and sucking most of the time. I think I do get a certain amount of respect for being able to make such bad mechanics work as well as they do. I mean, people understand that, if I'm averaging 230 with my mechanics being as bad as they are, then obviously that means that I, have an idea that I know what I'm doing. But when I go to competitions against tougher bowlers, it's kind of like I'm kind of the guy that everybody says, oh, he's here, but nobody worries about, because I can't hang with everybody. And so the better mechanics are for ultimately bowling better eventually. I think that I could probably average 240 left-handed and be legitimately good. And there's nothing that burns me more than knowing what to do and not being able to physically do it, or not being able to do it consistently. But left-handed, I can actually do what I'm wanting to do. If I want to change wrist position, if I want to speed up, slow down, I have a whole lot more control over that left-handed. The problem for me now is just consistency. I just need more practice to get a little bit more consistent, but I'm already so much further ahead left-handed than I am right-handed that I'll take the occasional oops, bad miss, because that happens on the right side anyway. It's just on the left side of the lane, it feels so much better. It looks better. I've got so much more function with it. It's just the left side of the lane is tougher, and especially on tougher conditions. And so I just wasn't looking forward to that. Plus, taking the year or two that I'm going to need to get up to being a scratch bowler is going to kind of hurt me for tournaments. And with as many tournaments as I have available and as many groups as I go with now, I didn't want anybody that I was bowling with or the teams that I bowl with to kind of take the hit while I'm, getting up to snuff lefty. So, all right, you need to shoot me another couple times.
Oh, yeah, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
How would I miss that?
I don't know. You were, yeah. Okay. They're all over here now. You can't have any left.
No, they're all gone. I
Okay.
did the whole clip.
All right, she did the whole clip. It's 5 o'clock anyway, so yep. She just shot the crap out of me with thanks for the donations. Thanks everybody for joining me. Yeah, Jason, I'm here. You can start now. Sorry, I'm gonna go eat and watch the U.S. Open. So, what type of material is a Cool Wick jersey? They have information on their website. So go to the Cool Wick website, and they will be able to tell you there. So. We're all done here. I'm going to go watch the U.S. Open. That's just getting ready to start. It's the final round of match play. So you guys will want to go check that out on Flow Bowling. So thanks, everybody, for showing up. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching my videos. It's really appreciated. All that good stuff. I have more nuclear cell videos coming out. I'm going to go right now While I'm watching the U.S. Open, I'm going to go right for the hypercell fuse comparison with the nuclear. I'm going to write for the Astro comparison. The Omega comparison. I'm going to write for all three of those. And then I have a couple more videos in the works. I think the Halo Pearl comparison's in there. And was going to do the Idle Pearl. I don't think that's going to happen. But then I've got the surface comparison with the fused, because I've got shiny fused footage and shiny and whatever. So I don't know if I'm going to combine those or do those in two separate videos. We'll see how that all works out and how long I ramble in my typing. And then next week, next Friday, I can start releasing Axiom videos. And so next Friday, I'm going to go get more video for that. Got to drill another couple balls left-handed, and then we'll start with Axiom videos next weekend. So thanks a bunch, everybody. We'll check out, and we'll talk to you later. Click.